All right, guys, welcome into Unpaved. I got to tell you, a great weekend. Look forward to talking it. Not to mention that I was so happy for Tommy Fleetwood. But a lot of football. We have a 2-week lull in the NFL before we hit the ground running a week. Be a week from this Thursday, I guess is what it is. Yeah, before we open the season. All your fantasy teams out there, go get that Renegade Fantasy out. My team's in there. See if you can compete the Salisbury League. But we'll get to that later. And I'm on Team Unpaved. Well, let me explain to you and bring JB in. And JB, I got to tell you, I know you had the vacation stuff and a lot going on. I keep trying to keep that damn boat afloat, the harbor too, with the waves that are flying through. I just thought maybe you could mow over Gavin Newsom on your way by if possible. But that's neither here nor there. Let's start this off. I can never remember a time in my entire football playing or viewing or covering it life when a quarterback that was a third, fourth string guy battling that has got more hype and more publicity than any preseason. Tebow had some, but he was a first-round pick. Whether you thought I'm not about whether you thought they should have been. I'm just talking about where you are. At no time in my life have I ever been seen preseason what's the best way? Misdirected hype in my life. At any time playing it, coaching it, covering it, talking about it, loving it, viewing it as a fan, ever. Now, let me make this point before JB and I get into a fun banter about this. And never have I ever been around where this is dominated, where it's the lead story. It feels like every single day on television. I've stated my thing about Shedeur Sanders. Listen, he's a rookie. He played like one plenty of times. He had some good moments in the preseason. He's a fifth-round pick that had a third-round guy drafted in front of him. We'll stop that part right there. Secondly, it is the preseason. We're not crowning Jackson Dart a Hall of Famer, and we're not crowning Shedeur Sanders a failure, nor should he be, or Dylan Gabriel a future superstar in the league. Bam. Lastly, with that part of it, I'm going to tell you what a third-string quarterback gets in preseason most of the time, or afford the guy. Think about it. Hell, you could make the argument, aren't we mad that Huntley didn't get more work? He's a veteran in the league, right? And you get rid of him who's had snaps. First of all, stay off the race card, folks. It doesn't exist here. It's tired. And I have never been around a more tired, taxing, exhausting, the outrageous, like I said, misdirected anger and expectations in my life for a preseason football player, let alone a quarterback, Chief. I just haven't. And I'm telling you what, the narrative is tired, brother. It's exhausting to talk about. There's so many great things to talk about. And Shedeur Sanders at the moment is a good thing to talk about, but not to dominate it. Here's how I know. A third-string quarterback. Now, I don't know about the Eric Dickerson information from collusion. Do I put it past the NFL, JB, to have collusion? No. Do I believe in my heart? This is an ED. Eric's my boy, man. I love him, former teammate. Whoever told him, and I don't really care to know who told him, but whoever told him that all 32 teams colluded, I do not believe that 32 owners called each other and said, don't draft him. No, matter of fact, if you loved him, you'd draft him if somebody else didn't, because you say, you 31 other owners aren't telling me what I can and can't do. So let's put that aside. I don't believe that whatever the information that came from, Eric's giving you the information he received, and I'm okay with that because that's my guy. But I don't believe that 32 teams went 5 rounds to draft him. I don't believe that it was collusion. That's just my opinion. I think that his performance in his college career was he had good games and some bad ones and had a bad offensive line and is physically limited in certain cases, but has some things to like. And he was drafted probably a little later than we would have expected, but I would have never taken him in the first round, and I would have struggled to take him in the second round. Third to fifth, I would have understood. But let me explain to you guys what Kevin Stefanski does know, and that's what Eric said. And I believe Eric was told this. Eric's been nothing but a transparent, unfiltered, honest guy since I've known him as a teammate and a friend, and all the years he's been, post-career. But wherever he got his information from, whoever that guy, I just have a hard time believing that 32 teams did this. Whether there's collusion with 5 teams, 32 getting on a Zoom call or calling each other, say don't draft him, or the NFL, I don't believe that part of it. I do believe Eric gave us the information he received from his source. But JB, I got to tell you, man, Folks, just let me explain to you something at home. Number one is please stop with the Kevin Stefanski. They put him out there to fail. They did not. I've been a third-string quarterback in training camp. Matter of fact, I was the sixth-string quarterback going to Seattle my rookie year. Coming out, they had 3 veterans. They had drafted a guy in front of me, and they had signed a guy from Portland State, I was number 6 in line. And you had to have a great preseason to warrant reps. Now, I can tell you this on the last preseason game now. And so you have to play great every day in the film room, all of it, in order to get a chance to play so you can make the team, especially when there's that many quarterbacks. And I was fortunate to have a really good training camp as a rookie. But I was an undrafted guy because I shredded my knee twice, expected to go higher in the draft, didn't. So I put a chip on my shoulder, and it worked out fine. That rookie, I made the team. I made the team as the third guy. Gail Gilbert and David Craig were in front of us, and that's the way in front of me. And that's the way it should have been. But, man, was I getting hyped, JB. Man, Salisbury, I'm telling you, it's 1986. You'd have thought I hung the moon as a rookie quarterback. And the truth is, I was playing in the preseason against teams. I had a really good preseason rookie year. Like, I had to have to make the team. But I shouldn't have been in front of Gail Gilbert or David Craig, and I wasn't. Rightfully so. But boy, was I a hero because I played my ass off. But I knew that I wasn't ready to start the NFL. And like I've told you the story many times watching Dave Craig, I said, I'm beating him out. By the end of the first practice, I said, I ain't beating him out because he was just too good, right? Well, let's spring forward to this. Third and fourth string quarterbacks don't get to work with the ones in the last, second, third, and fourth quarter of a preseason game, folks. So the fact that you're saying, what'd you want him to do? Because had Kevin Stefanski ran out his offensive line, starting offensive line, put the ones back out there, you know what everybody would have said? Why are you putting your team in harm's way in the last preseason game? The win doesn't matter. And they got the win. Huntley let him down for the game-winning field goal. I just don't understand what the narrative of that this constant shooter saying he shouldn't be starting. He's not ready to start. He's not ready to be the backup. Hell, I'm not sure Dylan Gabriel ain't ready for it. He had a better preseason, but Dylan Gabriel's not ready for this. And Joe Flacco is. That's why he starts. But I'm just trying to get the day-to-day. What do you guys expect from a fifth-round draft pick that is struggling to make that it had to compete to make a team, as opposed to you're wanting him to start, and we're talking he should have been the first pick of the draft? Listen, I told you, I probably like him more than JB does. We both have our thoughts on the X's and O's of why we wouldn't start him or why he's not a first-round pick. You can have yours too. But on the straight football stuff, he's not ready. So you guys, we got to stop this narrative and it will go away now because he's just going to be sitting around not playing. He's going to have to work on his craft and stay involved. But what I don't get, JB, is all this constant that we're talking about it like Elway showed up in Cleveland and is battling Joe Flacco for the starting job. That's exactly how we're talking about Elway when he came out, that Elway all of a sudden meant, why isn't Elway playing? We're talking like it's the same guy. We're not. They're not even the same class when it comes to physical skill set. But my point is what did you expect in the final preseason game from Kevin Stefanski? And do you think he really sat around and said, let's put Dylan Gabriel in a better position, or let's make sure Shedeur Sanders fails? If you go watch the tape from the game, Shedeur Sanders had plenty of opportunities to get the ball out for a quick completion to the flat or to a stick route and ran into sacks. He's not ready for this just yet, but he's got potential. I like him. I've said it on here. I do. I like the fact that I think he's a good kid. I think he's tough, but he's not ready. I don't know where is this coming from? I can tell you this loud and clear. And I think Shedeur Sanders has some potential. If it's worked with and he gets the right coaching, he can be a starter in this league one day, depending on how he progresses and takes this. He's not a bad kid. He's not. Matter of fact, I like him. I think he's always smiling and happy. If his last name was Brown, Shedeur Brown, Shedeur Stone, Shedeur Johnson, Shedeur Salisbury, do you realize that he would have been battling to make the team, not the talk we're having? People, you do know this, right? You do know that third and fourth string quarterbacks have to make damn near every play to make a team. That without that name, not saying it's just Deion because Shedeur can play, but I'm talking about as a fifth-round draft pick where a third-rounder was drafted in front of you. You got Flacco and Pickett. You're thinking he's in two games that he's just going to impact you so much. Listen, I'm not ready to really start Jackson Dart, even though he was explosive in a dynamic preseason and precise. I'm willing to let him be the excitement that comes through if Russ Wilson fails. I just don't understand what in the world are we trying to create here in Cleveland. First of all, it's unfair to Shedeur Sanders. I'm telling you what happened. If you put him out there as a starter, by the end of about game 3, you will want him back on the bench and you'll say, oh my gosh, we made a mistake. Just like you may do with Dylan Gabriel or anybody else that's a rookie, let alone a 5th-round pick that wasn't supposed to get a lot of playing time. He was working to make a team. We're working to make a team, and he did, I think. I mean, have we seen their fight? Have we seen how they're going to put him as a third? Wherever he is, third quarterback, fourth quarterback, whatever it is. I haven't seen anything today. They still got 4 on the roster, not counting Watson, correct, JB? In the last hour that I haven't seen. So they're there. My thing is real quick, and I this is a monologue, and JB and I are going to debate this, but I'm trying to grasp when I hear somebody, and when I hear somebody say he's got potential and can be a player, I'll agree with that. When I hear people say they put him, there's conspiracy that they threw him out there, that you know more at home, and you don't. I'm just telling you as a fan or Twitter, or you don't know more than Kevin Stefanski does. Whether you like him or not, you just don't when it comes to what's going on in that building. Neither do I. And I dare say at the position, you probably don't know more than what we're talking about here, even though I respect everybody's opinion, as long as it's not nut jobbish. The conspiracy that he wants him to fail, that they got him in there, that you know what, they didn't give a chance because they didn't have him with the number ones. What third-string quarterbacks getting the ones, or fourth-string quarterbacks getting the ones with him in the fourth quarter of a preseason game when the preseason's over, and it's the last preseason game where you don't want anybody to get hurt? Nobody. So why is he different? Why is Shedeur, who I like, and I don't need to qualify anymore, and I think can be a player, but he's not a player now. He's a good player. He's not a starter in this league. He's not a backup yet. So what's the conspiracy? Because you saw him at Colorado do a few things, all of a sudden, or you saw him in the first preseason game? I've got 8 quarterbacks I can walk through that are first or second year guys that had good preseason games. I can walk right through them and tell you all the way through. Shedeur was one of them in the first game. The last game, go back and watch some of the tape. Arlovsky, I saw, did it too, and I was looking and saying, wait a minute, there's a stick route right in front of him before you bail into trouble. He ran into trouble. He didn't run out of it. His strength is not doing that. His strength is you don't have a Big 12 offensive line anymore. You don't have the Colorado offensive line. You don't have a Pac-12 offensive line. You don't have a SEC offensive line, although some are good. You're in an NFL team, although they're backups, and those guys probably wouldn't made Alabama. My point, in any game, I don't care if it's this one or any, you got to anticipate going in that you can't run into trouble. This is not Colorado. It's still the NFL, and the windows open and close quickly, as does pass rush. You don't have 4 or 5 seconds. That doesn't exist. You got about 2.5. So while he's done some good things, and I like him and the potential, it'd be great to coach him. The problem is the distraction that goes with it. I've never seen anything like it. There's no way if his name was different that you would have said, okay, put him in San Diego or in LA. Put him the Rams third string guy. And his name's, ladies and gentlemen, Shedeur Brown, 5th-round pick from Colorado. You would not be sitting here saying, why isn't he starting? Why isn't he playing? Why didn't he get more work? Man, this guy, you'd be saying he's a project with some potential. And, man, I wonder what it's going to be like 2 or 3 years from now. And, JB, here we are honestly defending the fact that Kevin Stefanski's trying to make Shedeur fail so Dylan Gabriel looks better, who's not ready to start either in Dylan Gabriel's case, and he's physically limited as well, but a competitor. I try. There's so many layers to this, yet the only layer is this. He's a 5th-round quarterback that had a decent preseason, had a good first game with some mistakes, got knocked around. It's the last preseason game. You're just trying to get out of it healthy. He was no threat to start, no threat to be the backup when it started, and he's no threat now. 2 years from now, it may change. I just don't get it. I don't understand why in the world any of us think that no matter where he was at the last name change, you wouldn't have had these expectations. It's unfair to Shedeur Sanders, and it's sure as shit. For anybody that knows 1 ounce of football cannot watch this and say he's the best player on Cleveland and he's ready. Because then he'll disappear and get knocked around, and you'll say, damn, that's where they should have picked him. It's not fair to Sanders, and it's sure as hell not fair to Stefanski. And quite frankly, it's embarrassing for anybody to set up and say, this guy deserves more than that. The guy doesn't deserve anything else because of his race, religion, skin color. He doesn't deserve any other opportunity that any 5th-round draft pick that's on a team with 5 or 6 quarterbacks deserves. A chance, and then sometimes, like I did, you got to play with third-string offensive linemen. You either go out there and perform or get the shit kicked out of you and hope you've shown enough to stick around. So if you think you're getting the ones all the time, I got news for you, man. You're not. And I'm not saying it for Shedeur. All this stuff around that they're trying to create clicks and likes. There's not a soul that's in the NFL right now that's coaching a team, believes Shedeur Sanders or anybody in that position that played like him, regardless of where they are, should be starting or the backup quarterback in Cleveland or anywhere else.
Sean, the reason why is take a look at this video right here. You have to take a look at this. Have you seen this video of RG3?
No mistakes about it. Yes, Shedeur Sanders was a 5th-round pick, but he ain't never been a 5th-round talent. That's why in his mind, he is saying, I can change a franchise if you give me the opportunity to. Right now, Cleveland is not doing that. I looked at the snap count chart. We'll throw that up for you guys on the screen. And people were saying, oh, he was playing with the same guys that Dylan Gabriel was. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He was not. He was playing with the 3, 4s, and 5s offensive line. How many sacks did Shedeur have in the game?
Break down the tape for me, Robert, please.
He had 5 sacks in the game, playing behind the 3, 4, and 5 offensive line.
Hey, Sean, I'm going to be honest, Sean. The irony of it, when he gets into the race part of it, as we know he's going to, he does, by the way. The irony is he sits there with his white wife and complains about race. The shit is it's so ridiculous. I'm so over this shit. It's a mockery and a slap. This is what I've been saying forever, Sean. They have set this kid up for failure. The media, Stephen A. Smith, the big time conglomerates, they have set the kid up for failure. When they said he was the greatest thing since sliced bread because of the last name on his back of his jersey, Sanders. Let's just be honest.
He may end up JB at some point playing like a first rounder. I'm all for it. And if he's coached right and works right and has developed, we've seen it happen. But I can tell you right now, he wasn't a first round talent in this draft, or somebody would have taken him. Now, real quick, Tremaine, I don't know if you mean that he was given the fecal or wasn't. Here's what I understand. No, as a 5th rounder, it's not competition. That's what I don't understand. And I can answer this because I've lived it. I didn't get as many snaps as Gail Gilbert because he was when he was backing up David Craig, because I didn't earn it. I was an undrafted free agent that had to make a team. If he gets the 2s and I get the 4s, that's just part of it, man. And what in the world says that you take a quarterback in the 3rd round and the 5th round? Okay, does the 2nd round wide receiver get the same look as the 1st round wide receiver? The answer is no. The answer is no. So even if you thought, well, Dylan Gabriel got to work with better players, I know I saw Shedeur Sanders get a pretty good run in the first game with some good players and made some good plays. Dylan Gabriel as well threw a pick 6. He made some mistakes and did some good things as well. Probably didn't hold the ball as long, but that's okay. It's all both these guys learning. My point is, what competition? First off, anybody that's on here or me, do we know did any of us that are on here talking, or any of those people on the outside, Robert Griffin, was he in the meeting room listening to the football talk with the coach? Was he on the practice field every day for every drill, everything, every bit of the grind? See, when you say that Shedeur shouldn't be the backup, automatically people think, well, that's racist, or, man, I can't believe you said that. You just don't like Shedeur Sanders. I like him more than most as a player. I do. And I think I actually think he's a damn good kid. I love his energy, but energy and performance, they're going to take a back seat. And as a 5th round pick, when you're trying to get ready for a season, you got a Super Bowl starting quarterback who's old, but right now still better than Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel combined. He gives you a better chance to win today, maybe not in a month, but today. And you got a veteran in Kenny Pickett, who we can all argue is a journeyman, and we'll see what happens with him. But with that in mind, when we say, oh, it's not fair, what's not fair? The 5th rounder didn't get the same work as Flacco? No, of course he didn't. He got more of it because Flacco didn't need it. But when the competition, why am I supposed to – does everybody get the fair competition? Am I supposed to let every corner – you got 8 corners. Do they all get the same look as this first-round draft pick corner? No, they don't. They got to earn it on special teams. They got to earn it another way just to make the roster. Nobody's an argument. Now, if you go in there and you're a rookie and your name's Stingley and you come in and first-round draft pick, that's just it. So the point
John, can we break down what he was saying?
As if this was Russ Wilson competing against not even if it was Russ Wilson and Matt Flynn. When Flynn got the job, hurt his elbow, went out, Russ came in. I'm trying to figure out where you think any of us are entitled as lower draft picks to get the same amount of work that somebody else does. There is no entitlement here. White, black, Mormon, Catholic, Jewish, Protestant, it doesn't matter. The narrative that we've created a narrative as if this was the first pick of the draft going into the Cleveland Browns and showing up, and that they said, hey, it's his job to lose as a starter, Shedeur Sanders. He's a fifth rounder that was battling Gabriel and Huntley. You're trying to get all of them somewhere. And no, they're not all going to get the same player, because every fucking one of you that says that he should have got the first group like that in the third and fourth quarter against this last preseason game, every one of us, if Teller gets hurt or if one of their players blows out a knee, you know what we're all saying, JB? Fire Kevin Stefanski. Why? Because he shouldn't be playing his ones with a third or fourth string quarterback when the preseason's basically over. And they've seen enough of what they know what Shedeur Sanders has and the potential that he has. I'm sure they like some of the things he did in practice. Right now, he's not ready to play, as most rookies aren't, especially fifth rounders. Even if he's according to Robert Griffin, a higher talent and wasn't there. To Robert Griffin, he wasn't scouted as a fifth round talent. To a lot of the front office people, he was. Most front office people, whether they didn't have him as a first round grade, or they would have taken him. Trust me, they would have, because they all want to enhance their football team. So, and he has the backup when there's the Tim Tebow and Shedeur Sanders hype that the backups. This guy's getting more attention than anybody in the league. He gets more attention. I'm okay with it when it's earned. I'm not in his wallet for how much money he earns. But as a football player, anybody that's been through it knows damn well that you don't get equal reps. It doesn't work that way. Nobody, you're not entitled to a damn thing, no matter where you come from or what name is on the back of your jersey. And I don't think Deion expected him to have entitlement. And I don't think Shedeur did either. It just kind of come with the name territory. It's time for him to go to work, watch guys in front of you. When your opportunity presents itself, don't screw it up. Be prepared and understand that, listen, you know when you get entitled is when you go up there and win the job and you earn it, and then all of a sudden you become one of those guys. Then you get the extra breaks. But while you're earning and fighting, there isn't any. And it doesn't matter if it's Shedeur, even Jackson Dart as a first rounder, Tyler Shuck in Houston, in New Orleans. I just don't understand the whole narrative we've created as if he walks off Colorado's campus. If he would have walked off Colorado's campus with his college career to Cleveland, there's not a soul alive if his name was Sean or Shedeur Davidson that would have said, oh, guy's first round pick, first round talent. We got to give him, we absolutely have to give him the competition to win the job. You would have never said it, which is unfortunate for Shedeur because we didn't get to see the real stuff because we've created this thing that we think he's Andrew Luck or John Elway and he's a fifth rounder, that he should be getting more run than anybody else. You're not entitled to a damn thing. He's not asking for it. We've all created it, so he's got to answer these questions. I think the kid's a really good one. And no, you don't deserve the same amount of time as everybody else gets. None of us did. None of us do. So he's not going to get the same. The head coach comes out and says the competition, then that's what expect. I imagine the competition was good in practice on a regular basis. But do you actually think, let's just look at the logic of this, Tremaine. Do you actually think a team's going to admit that they made a mistake early in training camp if it came to that we're going to give the third rounder that we drafted, we're going to admit if we made a mistake that Shedeur's better? But Shedeur hasn't proven yet that he's better than Dillon Gabriel. And Dillon Gabriel hasn't proven he's even worthy of being a starter. He played okay. He did some good things. So did Shedeur. But this automatically, but if his name was Shedeur Stone, none of us would be saying this. We would have covered him like we would any other fifth round quarterback that's a fourth stringer going in. That's how we would have covered it. And I'm rooting for the kid. You can give good, honest analysis without working and rooting for his failure. I root for his success. I love his dad, always have, and I'm a fan of this kid's energy. But you got to stop this nonsense. How we're trying to create this. Oh man, this fifth rounder's first round. What? And Robert Griffin's got his. Good for him. Good. He had him as a first round grade. Good. Not everybody else does.
Sean, let's be honest. All right.
Don't logic you to death. I'm not logicking to death. I'm just telling you that the situations, and don't give me the crap that you think Shedeur Sanders should be the starter on this team right now. Enough.
Tremaine, shut the hell up. This is ridiculous.
I love having you on, Tremaine, but you're way off. No, I'm not. It's not logic. Logic is Shedeur Sanders is not the best. He's not the best quarterback on the team and didn't deserve any more work than he got. Period.
Number one, first of all quarterbacks played with third and fourth stringers all year long in the preseason. Jackson Dart did. Every fucking quarterback has third and fourth stringers around them. So miss me with Robert Griffin only had 3 and 4 backups. Stop. All
He
quarterbacks
said
have
fifth stringers. We don't have fifth stringers in camp. Sorry.
They all do. They all do. Number one. Number two, I'm just curious, Tremaine. Here's the issue I have. At the end of the day, he's a quarterback, last time I checked. And quarterbacks are different, period. Whether you like it, accept it, or not. The bottom line is, if you ever see what he's done historically and what you saw in the 2-minute drill the other day, and he said, you're not going in, and he fucking walks off like a bitch and walks away and goes all the way down the fucking sideline. Guess what he did against Nebraska in college? Guess what he did against Colorado State before the game? Why is Sean King, former Super Bowl champ, on my show every day? And why is Eric Weddle, former Super Bowl champ, on my show every day? Why are they all in agreement with Sean and I? It's a bottom line. You're a quarterback. There is no room. There is no part of that in your job description, period. And it's added up. And guess what? You wonder why he dropped to a 5th round. It ain't collusion. Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback there, Tremaine. Last time I checked, he was the highest paid fucking player. Isn't he black? Miss me with the bullshit. I'm tired of the race baiting thing. The kid isn't very good. He's fucking average. Let's just be honest.
Right
if it
now,
wasn't for him,
right, yes. Talent-wise, he's got some skills. He's stand in the pocket and deliver it and take a hit. He's just like all quarterbacks that aren't getting a lot of work in the preseason because you're trying to get – see, the whole goal isn't to please fans because they want the narrative that plays guys. You know what the whole goal is? To get your team better, to find 53 cats that can make a roster where you got a chance in a division that if you play average, you're going to get the ass kicked by Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and the Cincinnati Bengals. So you're looking to upgrade and make sure you got the best guys. Now, listen, 3 years from now, we may be sitting here having a different conversation. Shedeur got coached right. The guy did the right thing. He put it to work. See, in all this, you know who I'm not mad at? Even though he may do things different than somebody else likes on draft day with all that, and that he comes from football royalty in Deion. I get that part. We love the hype out there. People do it all the time. But he's not even bringing this on himself. The guy's just playing.
And
now,
John, be clear.
Optics, real quick, about the optics, JB. You're talking about the optics, about that stuff. Yeah, that does matter. I'm just talking about, I don't think Shedeur's out there saying, hey, I should be playing and going in and beating down the coach's door. None of that. But he does. What you have to understand is you don't deserve. And if anybody out there believes everything coaches tell them in a press conference, then you've got to readjust your compass. Coaches and recruiters lie all the time to get the thing done, to get through. Yeah, we're going to give everybody open competition. There's rarely open, free competitions at a quarterback position. Rarely. And it's usually not 4 cats. It's 2, and 1 going in has the advantage unless he screws it up usually. Shedeur Sanders right now is an average player with some good upside if he's coached right. That if his name was different, we would be talking, is he going to make the team? And I'd be saying that about him. And you know what? I'm not saying anybody on here, Tremaine. I don't know. You didn't say anything about race, but regardless, this is very simply this right here is a 0 amount of chance and percentage that this was a race issue. Now, anybody out there, I've seen it suggested on Twitter. That's not the case.
That's what I was saying.
Dylan Gabriel's not even a white boy. Dylan Gabriel's a mix too of what, Tongan or Hawaiian or something, JB? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, though. I didn't say Tremaine said it. I said stop with the race shit. I said, exactly. Period. If you look at Jamil Hill's post, Josina Anderson's post, RG3, and everybody else out there that's saying he's getting fucked by Stefanski, and they put him in there to fail. Stop, man. Stop with the bullshit. For the top 5 highest paid players in the NFL are black. Stop the bullshit.
And Tremaine, you make a good point about the open comp. I get when somebody says open competition, but you know this, man. When coaches tell us that, how often is it? And I don't know from my vantage point. I saw the preseason, but I don't know what they were doing in team drills and blitz pickup during practice, because we're not there. I'm not sitting in the meeting when they're quizzing them and getting them on the board to draw them up. I don't know what the quarterback coach and the coordinator think when they're watching. That's why I always tell you the practice part's the everyday grind is more important to me than a preseason game. And at no time in the world, guys, when we say giving them an equal opportunity to compete, listen, when there's that many quarterbacks on a roster, they can't all get the same amount of guys. You can't ask 4 quarterbacks, because I'm sure that Huntley right now would have liked more work in the preseason. And quite frankly, if you were going to have a backup, if he was on the roster, he'd be it. because he's more equipped with the way he played in Baltimore to be the backup to Joe Flacco. Why? Because he knows the system, and the guy he's at least a stabilizing force. If we're really breaking it down to guys who didn't get a legit shot to make a team, that just came in as an arm and a camp body, and Huntley deserved more than being a camp body. But that being said, at no time does a guy who's battling with 4 or 5 quarterbacks who comes in, and in the third or fourth quarter, he's not getting the number ones. It's amazing how we all, and I'm not saying you, Tremaine, anybody, we don't want him to play our starters for too long. We don't want him hurt. Yet, when a 5th-round quarterback comes in, no, it's not the way it works, man.
Hey, Tremaine, I got a question, Tremaine.
Badgett in Chicago, every single guy who's had to fight and scratch for a job that wasn't a high-profile player.
I got a question, Sean, for Tremaine, and I'm not bashing Tremaine. I got a question, and I got a point for the question. Are you defending Shiloh Sanders today the same way you're defending Shedeur? Are you advocating for Shiloh to have been in a competition to be one of the top 5 safeties on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
And it's a question I possibly play nickel, right, JB?
And Tremaine, I don't think you are. And you know why you're not? Because he's a safety versus a quarterback. That's my point, Tremaine. He's a quarterback, and guess what comes with that? Scrutiny, all eyes on me, and every day is an interview. So when he walks down the sideline moping and sucking his teeth because he didn't get to go in the 2-minute drill, because Stefanski's job is to evaluate all parties, not just fucking one. And the bottom line is, Tremaine, it wasn't an open competition. It was a 5th-round draft pick.
Right.
Gabriel had an open competition 2 rounds ahead, not Shedeur. Shedeur was a pick to tell everybody we're going to draft a quarterback again next year.
And you know what else happened, JB? When they took him in the 3rd round, they were telling you they liked him more than they did the guy they took in the 5th round. That's why they took him in the 3rd.
And I'll be honest, it is what I've heard. This is what I've heard now. He would be cut. He would be cut if they didn't draft him in the 5th round. If he was a undrafted guy like Shiloh,
he'd have been cut. Yes.
And here's the reason why they can't cut him, though, because they'll look even worse. Because let's be clear, Cleveland Browns are a horrible organization over the last 30 years. If they cut him, it will even look worse that you drafted a 3rd and a 5th rounder, and now you're
a 5th-round pick on right if you're going to cut him. Now, the Browns fans who I love, I go on to Cleveland all the time. I am a huge Cleveland Browns fan. They deserve more clarity and stuff, not just with Stefanski. I'm talking about the overall. They just keep, unfortunately, missing, and now Baker's playing out of his mind, and he had good seasons in Cleveland too. It comes down to this. You're exactly right. When you draft a 3rd-round pick, I'm telling you, the competition, put it this way, there was always going to be more competition for Gabriel to move up than it was for Sanders to overtake Gabriel. Because one's a 3rd round and one's a 5th. And I can tell you the entire that had, and this is not to, if I could coach Shedeur Sanders, I'd work with him. I'd love it. It'd be great. But I can tell you this, that if his name, judging by everything you see, if his name was different on the back of his jersey, which is a good thing at times and not a good thing at times, and it's unfair to him, if his name was different, I'll say it louder so everybody can hear, or quiet, that he would not have got 1 ounce of the same attention, nor would the expectations in Cleveland anywhere else have said, you got to start this guy. It's unrealistic. It was unrealistic going in, and the unrealistic because he's Shedeur. I saw him throw a touchdown pass late in the game against Colorado State. Yeah, it was great. This ain't Colorado State, and this ain't college football anymore. This is now the big boys. And the bottom line is, it was never going to be where Shedeur was going to get more chance to perform over the 3rd round pick. Now, whether you think that they should have been flip-flopped in 3rd and 5th round, that's on you. The Cleveland Browns said, we like Dylan Gabriel more. The bottom line is, Shedeur Sanders' name on the back of his jersey is the reason why he got more pub, and it was more hyped. Not just hyped. I don't even like to say that. It was more tiresome to cover the Cleveland Browns than any time ever. Why? Because you're talking more about a guy who's not going to play as opposed to the starter who is.
Tremaine, you're killing me. Yeah, what are you, a Pop Warner fucking guru? Because guess what? You didn't get told. You didn't get told. Shit, Tremaine. And either did Shedeur. He was a 5th-round draft pick. We're in the fucking NFL, Tremaine. This ain't youth fucking Pop Warner. This ain't 7-on-7 youth football, homie. This is the NFL. I don't owe you shit. I drafted you.
And you know what else? Yeah, and I don't know you extra snaps. I don't have to explain to you why I gave you the backup tight end. I don't have to explain to you why you get the third.
This is a social media.
Real quick.
This is a social media. This was the social. Yeah. I did think he was a 5th round pick, Jermaine, because I'm the only one in the country that called it. Go check the books. It's on my show.
I've said on my local morning show I would not have taken him in the first 3 rounds, although I thought he was going to go higher.
I predicted him in the 5th round, so he went the 5th round. I was the only one right. So real quick. And Sean and I talked about it, and on draft day, I told Sean on this show he's going to fall big. Watch, and he did. And here's the bottom line:
well, he didn't really fall big because the people in the NFL that know high ranked anyway, right?
This is the thing: we got to stop defending the DraftKings and FanDuel people in America who want to go off of what they got you
or a Twitter handle
and how much money they made. No, how much money Shedeur made you on a DraftKings bet in college. You got to stop with the bullshit. He's not that good, dog. He's really not. And Sean thinks higher of him than I do. I think he throws a good deep ball. I think he's a decent ad-lib player.
And
he's not a great
guy in the pocket.
He has no arm. Take a hit. He's not very good when you project him. In college, I said, you know what? He's the best deep ball thrower in college football. He's he won him some games for his dad. But here's the bottom line, Jermaine.
Change the program around. He did, for sure.
The kid has never, ever faced real competition in his life, ever. He's been given the job everywhere he's been. Did you hear Deion Sanders' presser when he got the job at Colorado? Hey, quarterback's already coming. He's here, my son.
Well, let me ask you this.
Come on, dog. High school in Dallas, Sean. In Dallas, Deion gave him the job. Jackson State gave him the job. Colorado gave him the job. He's never faced competition. And now he's facing it, and without his daddy, and y'all are up in the arms.
Well, and he doesn't. He doesn't deserve any more work than a 5th rounder for anybody other.
Y'all set him up, Sean. They all set him up for failure, like I've been saying.
Right now, think about this: that you talk about the same things that make people mad. That Deion didn't. That Shedeur didn't get a chance to compete right with Dillon Gabriel. Now let's flip this switch. Were they complaining when he came to Colorado that the incumbent or somebody was there? Did that person get a legitimate chance to take the job to compete with Shedeur? And the answer is no. So it validates what you're saying. And I'll tell you another thing. The biggest problem here, Tremaine, is that for you to sit there and that through a press conference and a coach told you, as you said, you or the fans, that we're going to give an open competition. And I need to know, Tremaine, how many quarterback meetings or practices you were at in Cleveland. That's what I got to know. And if you weren't at any, then we don't know what the competition. Maybe Dillon Gabriel eliminated the competition pretty soon. But the competition was always going to be, can Dillon Gabriel move up closer to the top as opposed to coming back down to the and have to compete with Shedeur Sanders. That was never it. They drafted him in the 3rd round. He was always going to get the advantage. It happens at every position in this league. The 3rd rounder is always going to get more run than the 5th rounder. The 1st more than the 3rd. The 2nd more than the 4th. It happens. It happens all the time. And then none of us were entitled to anything. And you just have to fight through it and deal with it and compete with it. And no, I didn't think he was a 1st-round talent. I did not. Do I think that he can morph into something with good coaching? I do, because he's got good football DNA, and I think he wants to succeed. So I like him a little more than JB does. No, I didn't have 1st-round talent. I wouldn't have drafted him in the 1st round. And I thought this was a weak-ass class, to be honest with you, if you want the truth. I thought it was weak. If there was ever a time you would have taken him in the 1st round, if you thought it was 1st round, it would have been this year. If that was the case, because the class was just blah, okay, when it comes to the top. And I hope Cam Ward turns out well and Jackson Dart. But we're misled here. We should never set up there. So when Kirby Smart or Lincoln Riley stand up there and say, yep, or they tell a recruit, he's a 5-star, he's the best quarterback we've ever had, we're going to give him a chance to start. What do you think they're telling the 5-star the next year? The same exact thing. Why? How do I know this? Because I lived it. You get this. The next guy comes up. We want him too. The next guy comes up. Listen, no 5th rounder is going to get more run than a 3rd rounder in training camp, especially at quarterback, just so you know. It's never going to happen.
I just want to know where all the camp.
Why didn't Brock Purdy get drafted? I mean, why didn't he get drafted after JB? Look what we see now. He's worth 50. He was the last pick of the draft. And you know what? He got the position by default.
I want to know why we don't talk about
Garoppolo got hurt and struggled. And then when the opportunity presented itself, what did he do? He capitalized on it. This isn't about anything other than the fact that right now Shedeur Sanders, listen, for me, Shedeur, the backup on this team right now would be Huntley for experience. He would. Gabriel would have been your project, and I would have put Shedeur Sanders on the practice squad, and I'd have tried to trade Kenny Pickett. I'd sure tried to trade him now to the Raiders, being the fact that Aiden O'Connell's out 6 to 8 weeks, and they need a veteran just so they got a warm body that's played some games, and Pickett has.
I think that's why Cleveland – first of all, I want to ask why no one talks about Cam Ward. He was the number one pick. We don't even talk about him.
I've seen it. Shedeur Sanders, after one game, Shedeur Sanders should have been drafted ahead of Cam Ward. I saw it dozens of times on social media, which is an embarrassment.
Yeah, I just want to ask why isn't there anything about that? Number one. Number two, why don't I see more about Jackson Dart, how he's been the best quarterback in the NFL in all preseason? I don't see anything. Not
just on the team, in the entire league this preseason.
Whole league. Yeah. And then I want to bring up, what you just said about what did you just say? You're talking about
coach is lying to you. Third rounder is going to get more look than the fifth rounder.
No. You just mentioned something I wanted to talk about. What did you just say?
In my last comment, it was either. You
just said
the coaches are always going to tell tell a guy what they want to hear. The media doesn't know. I mean, the coaches don't know any of us anything.
Oh, no. Here's what it is. You were talking about who you would trade and all that. I was told by a Cleveland insider that comes on my show that they're holding on to all the QBs because the fact that quarterbacks drop like flies, like Aiden O'Connell you just mentioned, and how many others are going to drop this season, and how many veterans are you going to need? They're holding all the cards right now because of the depth of their room that they can make a trade later on in the season or whenever they feel best fit.
They're going to be greedy about it to get an asset.
Because somebody's going to need a quarterback, Sean, in a watered-down quarterback league. I'll just be honest. Somebody's going to need a quarterback here shortly, whether it's the Raiders, whether it's Tennessee, whether it's whoever it may be. Somebody's going to need a quarterback, and there's another guy out there looming around that's going to be out there too, named Kirk Cousins. So if Michael Penix is balling out and Atlanta's in the hunt in the NFC South, guess what they'll do? They'll be shopping Kirk Cousins too for the highest bidder. To try and steal a third-round pick or fourth-round pick. And Tremaine, you went to 2 practices while visiting family, that's great. But you and I both know, even if playing all the years I played and you and I were sitting there in the stands together, that's not going to tell us enough. We got to see the whole body of work. And no matter how we slice it, a fifth rounder is not going to get the work a third rounder does at quarterback. They're just not. And I don't know. People have made it about race. It's made about Stefanski hates Shedeur. Guys, can we just look at the football stuff? And I was proud that Orlovsky, when he did it this morning, when he went on, was talking about, hey, man, the guy's sitting right there in the flat, throw the football to him. The guy's sitting right here on the stick route, throw the football to him. Unfortunately for Shedeur was frazzled and ran himself into trouble in this final preseason game. Listen, had he thrown 2 touchdown passes in the game, do you know where he'd be right now? He'd be the third, fourth. He'd be the 4th string quarterback, more than likely, at least the 3rd string. It wouldn't matter. They'd already seen enough to know the pecking order, and then he could have gone back to work. So it wouldn't have mattered. They were nobody's ideas were changing after this preseason game. But you hear from Jack, and listen. We should be arguing more. Should Jackson Dart be starting over Russ Wilson than we should be? Should Shedeur Sanders be playing over Dylan Gabriel? Yeah. It's a fact. And it has zero to do with anything other than football, skill set, and performance every single day. Yeah.
I've never seen as much, angst, anxiety, and stress put on a kid that was a 5th-round pick. There's no way in God's green earth that Shedeur Sanders went to Cleveland thinking he was going to start or be the backup. Now his confidence tells you want to make a team. That's going to be the goal. Continue to grind. So when the opportunity, if it does at some point in the next year or two present itself, you don't leave it on the table. I've never seen anything like it though, man. I haven't. And it's unfair to him, man. And the Browns, and Stefanski doesn't owe any of us to tell us that, hey, I'm giving the 3rd and the 5th rounder a chance to compete against the other every day with the exact same amount of reps. No. And Robert Griffin should know that too.
Hey, by the way, I'm glad that Jeff Schwartz came out and blasted RG3 just now, and I'll read it to you real quick. He said, RG3, it's funny immediately when you say 5th-string O-line out of your mouth. That's the first thing he said. There's no such thing as 5th-string O-line.
What did I tell you, JB? And I didn't even see that. I told you we don't have 5th-string offensive line. That's BS. Robert Griffin III, unfortunately, is a hype master. He just
says shit, man. He says shit, man. And this whole and why he wears a Shedeur jersey or whatever. The shit is just ridiculous, man. I really, and then he's the same guy that wore Shedeur Sanders backwards on national television and Hamlin backwards after he had the heart attack and all that stuff that happened. He's the same guy. He wants attention. Wonder why ESPN fired his ass.
But I'm just wondering about, Jackson Dart. If Jackson Dart was a second-year quarterback battling, everybody, you know what they'd be saying? This is oh my gosh, he was the most dynamic football player in the preseason on any team. He really was, JB. It was phenomenal. So, but the bottom line is that he's a first rounder that more than likely isn't going to get the opening start the first day. And you're saying, well, he got fair call. Of course he did. He's the first round pick. He's a quarterback, and Russ Wilson wasn't going to get a lot of work, and Jameis doesn't need a lot. Now, why are we talking about this?
No, we're not. Here's the thing, Sean. It's crazy too.
And right now, Jackson Dart's a better player than Shedeur, Dillon Gabriel, he's a better player than Cam Ward right now. Now, I think Cam's going to be really special. I do. When I say special, I think he's got some really good football. If they protect him, he'll make plays. But we got to stop leaning. I'm not saying anybody else on here. I'm talking about nationally. We got to stop leaning on the race card when it goes wrong. Either way, for both sides, it's embarrassing, and it's a tired narrative. Shedeur Sanders, regardless of the color of his skin, Deshaun, Jameis Winston, regardless, Huntley, regardless of the color of their skin, the best football player usually ends up playing, especially at that position, because you got to win. Bottom line. So whatever you feel about Shedeur Sanders, great. Let it rip, all you folks. But the one tired one is that there is a conspiracy by Kevin Stefanski to make
NFL collusion.
Yeah, to make Dillon Gabriel look better than Shedeur Sanders. He didn't need to make him look that way at all. Number one. Number two is, and the conspiracy that, oh my gosh, that he owes us a conversation, all that. We got to stop, and that it's a black-white thing. It's not.
We don't owe you shit. NFL don't owe nobody shit. There is no competition. They
never have either.
They drafted him in the 5th round. You thought he was going to get first town. You thought he was going to get first fucking team reps, Jermaine? He's a 5th round draft pick, dog. That means they're going to fucking draft another quarterback next year. Just FYI.
And
he can't be a bust either. By the way, Shedeur can't be a bust. He's a 5th rounder.
Right. That's just it. I mean, if he was cut today, we would say he's a bust.
Jamarcus Russell was a 1st rounder. There's a bust there. You can say all you want. I hate using that word, but that's a 1st rounder. A 5th rounder is not a bust. He's very unlikely to make your roster usually. So, again, it is what it is.
Yeah, and a 5th rounder, you're exactly right. If he were to get cut today, nobody should label him a bust. You should label him a 5th rounder that's looking for another opportunity. And I hope it works. I hope it works for Shedeur Sanders. I hope it works for Shedeur Sanders, but I can tell you this, that in the same process, it's a task for a 5th rounder. You got a lot of people you got to get through, and you got a lot of impressions to make. And I hope for the young man it does work out for him. It's unfortunate they've created the national narrative of putting on him what he was never going to happen. He was never coming out of this as a starter or the backup. It wasn't going to happen, especially when a guy was drafted in front of him, unless Dillon Gabriel's hurt. Whether you think he's a better player than Gabriel, that's on you. Whether you think he had a better preseason on a daily basis that we didn't get to watch and practice, that's on you. But I can tell you this, the Cleveland Browns didn't go into a meeting room saying, let's make Shedeur Sanders look poor on the football field, because it's a poor reflection of them, if nothing else. They don't. Shedeur Sanders will be fine if he's coached right and gets an opportunity. When it's right, right now is not the opportunity. He hasn't earned that shot. He just hasn't, because he's a 5th round pick. And you do everything you can with every rep, but you're not going to get the same reps as everybody who's drafted in front of you. It's a pecking order, whether we like it or not, and race has absolutely zero to do with it. All right, what do you say about Urban Meyer thinking about, talking about the suspension? I want to talk about this last week. I know it's a little later, but you were off last week. And this fact that the NFL, and I saw it on Dan Patrick's show, and Urban had suggested that, with what happened to Jim Tressel, because Jim Tressel, when he got suspended, was when he was let go as well, the NFL was going to honor, Roger Goodell said, we're going to honor what happened to him in college. But they're not the governing body. These are separate. These are separate entities. The NFL doesn't get to control what happened in college, just like college doesn't get to control what goes on in the NFL. I don't see how the NFL can come over and say, hey, you know what? Jim's already under that. That's a Dean Spanos thing. If he wants to go and say, hey, I'm going to suspend my coach for something he did with gaining an advantage at Michigan, it's like the when you run out of time, that there's no longer you've passed the time and when you can prosecute somebody, the statute of limitations. Once you go to the pros, while it's not statute of limitations per se, what's college going to do? Oh, so the NFL is going to call and say, hey, man, you did this to Tressel. Can you do this to Harbaugh too? I'm sure each individual case is different, and it did gain an advantage. But I don't believe the NFL has any right to suspend anybody, including Jim Tressel. Honor it. They didn't have to because Tressel wasn't a head coach, wasn't offered the job, to suspend any head coach for something that was done in college. If the NCAA is not bright enough to figure that out while they're there, that's on them. And Harbaugh has gone through suspension in college, got his suspension. They went through that, whether you liked who he was suspended against, but he was suspended against in some games, and now he's in the NFL. I don't think there's a shot in hell Roger Goodell jumps up and says, "Hey, we're going to suspend and honor what? That you're going to call up? How can you suspend him? He didn't do it under your watch. It didn't happen on an NFL landscape. It happened in college. That would be a lawsuit through and through that the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh would win. Would absolutely win, regardless of the precedence that is Jim Tressel. But Tressel wasn't on a roster coaching as a head coach for a team and then making it retroactive and going back and getting him. You can't suspend Jim Harbaugh if you're the NFL because of a college football's decision or mistake. You just can't. If you want to keep it in-house and make it even feel worse, we're going to punish you a full season and take away your chance at a national championship this year because Jim Harbaugh, that's the best punishment. Well, then guess what? Then go punish Michigan if that's what you want to do, even harsher than you have already with what, 20 to 30 million bucks. Go ahead. But the NFL, you can't do it. And you know what? It's a bit rich, and I like Urban Meyer, but when it comes to to some of that stuff, I mean, Urban's been through it himself, and quite frankly, probably the NFL stuff is for the NFL, not college. And I'm a huge Urban Meyer fan. I think he's one of the best coaches we ever had in college. But to say that Jim Harbaugh is going to get or should be suspended by the NFL, that's a reach, and it's a lawsuit waiting to happen if they were to do that. They don't govern him anymore, nor should they.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that. I love Urban too.
Terry McLaurin, 3 years, $96 million, deserved.
32 a year, puts him about fifth or sixth, highest paid.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something now. A happy McLaurin on that roster with that team and that quarterback, if he makes the same strides from LSU as the Heisman Trophy winner that he made as an NFL player his rookie year in Jaden Daniels and stays that course and they keep him upright and he just stays healthy, this team, I'm just telling you, Philadelphia fans, I'm not saying they're better because they're not on paper. But Philadelphia is not going to run away and hide in this division. Washington's real, man. And I'm getting Terry situated and deserved every penny and giving Jaden that security blanket. They bring in Tunsil as long as he doesn't have pre-snap penalties and doesn't kill his team that way. The Washington Commanders are going to be in good shape. We got one hell of a race in the division between those two teams. Philadelphia favorite, and rightfully so. They're loaded. But I'm telling you what, Washington's not exactly chopped liver. That's a pretty good football team.
Yeah, I wouldn't have paid on that money, but that's me.
But it's the market, though, right now, JB.
Yeah. There's two sides of the world going on. I have E-Dub on my show every Monday, Eric Weddle, and he dabbled with the Ravens in the front office after his career was on, and after he won a Super Bowl with the Rams, he went to mess with the Ravens in the front office, and he just is not a believer either. Either are the Ravens mostly on offense. They don't pay guys like that at wideout, and I guess he turned down $28 million, and Weddle today was like, I wouldn't have paid him $28 million. He's not Jamar Chase or Jefferson, and at the end of the day, you had to re-sign him, though, because you had no other wideout, and you just came off a great season with Jaden. You got to re-sign him. But at the same time, these teams are they're signing some guys that I question, man. I love Scary Terry, but at the end of the day, that's a lot of money, Sean, to give a wideout. He's not Devontae Adams. He's not 6'5". He's not a guy. He's a guy that you can really throw two bodies at and take him out. And now who's their other guy? Debo, who's been kind of declining over the last few years. It's going to be very interesting if you even get a return on an investment on this one. I like him, and I love Jaden. I'm a Jaden guy. It's going to be interesting, but I wouldn't have paid him $32 million either.
But it's an investment they had to make, JB, because of the lack of bodies and players at the position. Yeah.
I agree with all that. I'm just saying, like, it's just crazy right now. It's wild times, but we'll see. Hope it pays out for Jaden.
What was your, aside from the Sanders stuff that we talked about and Was Jackson Dart your most? What's your biggest takeaway from the preseason, JB?
Micah's body language. We get
Michael Parsons.
Yeah,
we get that's been the other big story because he's going to get signed at some point. I believe he'll play in the opener, but man, he's not in football shape right now because he hasn't been in pads the whole time. So that's going to take a minute. I believe he plays. Ed Werder said on Friday he believes he'll play, but may not have a deal done by the opener. But Jerry's not trading him. He knows his value, and Jerry loves being in the meeting. Micah Parsons is going to be a Cowboy and going to be a Cowboy for a long time whenever the deal gets done. And Jerry holds the cards. Why? He can franchise him. At the end of this year, he can franchise tag him. And that's not going to happen. They're going to get it done. It just may not be at the time frame that everybody wants it to. Yeah, Micah's emotion was shown by the way his body language. I get it.
No, that's the thing, too. Like, why aren't you ready to play, and why don't you play to say I'm going to be better than last year, not get worse? And when I am ready and I do sign, I go in there and I don't have the year I just had. You should be aspiring to be better than the year before and get – and here's my thing. Why aren't teams knocking down the door with trade offers if the guy is so highly touted and thinks he's worth so much? Jerry Jones has gotten it done every single year from the day that Emmett held out to begin the 91 season till CeeDee Lamb to Dak Prescott on the airplane headed to Cleveland week 1, didn't have a deal done. They got it done. He's made, not only does he get it done, Sean, he pays you more money than anyone else. So at the end of the day,
as of Friday, JB, that Micah Parsons, the sources say, and Ed Werder, one of them as well, said that Micah Parsons, David Mulugeta, and Jerry Jones have not met since March. Now you see Mike on the field will be talking to Jerry walking around, but football contract related, the talk was on Friday, and Ed Werder said it on this show, that they have not met since March. So there you go. While it may feel hostile,
Jerry, I got to hang out with Jerry. I got to hang out with Michael Irvin last Thursday at an event, and he was talking about the Netflix documentary releasing that Saturday, which came out last Saturday. Great, by the way. I think it's the greatest I've ever seen, and I'm not a Cowboy guy, and I think it's the greatest well done, and the nostalgia alone. But hearing it from Michael Irvin, who had Jerry on his own show the day this show released on Netflix, and he said, "Listen, Mike," and Jerry's not going to lie to Michael Irvin on his.
And Michael asked him. Mike always gets the truth out of Jerry, always.
And he said, "I offered him the most money of any non-quarterback in the history of football, and he hadn't signed it." There's nothing else to say. I don't know what else to say. Now, maybe we're missing something. We don't know the whole thing, but something's missing, Sean. Whether it's an agent deal, whether it's a Micah deal, whether it's something. If you offered a guy $200 million, what they're saying, and he didn't sign it, then I don't know how you're going to continue to keep bashing. And I had Pac-Man Jones on my show who played for Cowboys and said, anyone that's calling Jerry racist and anyone Jerry's put every dollar in my bank account in my pocket and has done more for me than my own mama.
Well, listen, that's another. Listen, and Kim Hall, right. You may not believe Jerry 100%. I don't believe anybody 100% when it comes to contract negotiations. It's somewhere in the middle. But I do know this about Jerry, a brilliant marketer. I love Jerry Jones. I think he, as a general manager, he'd be better served to hire somebody that could, like a Troy Aikman. I think this franchise would be in much better shape if Jerry was the marketer and the owner and let Troy, a guy like that, who's fiery and it's all about football and competing, do that. I know this. Anybody that suggests that he has a racist bone, I hope that that's not happening, because you go ask Michael or Dion or Emmett or Darren Woodson or any of these guys who play for. And by the way, Dak at the time and still the highest paid quarterback in the league. CeeDee Lamb got paid. To my knowledge, I think that they're African American. So it doesn't exist here.
They have 5 guys in the top.
Right.
Highest paid guys.
It's simply he wants more or whatever. And Jerry, whether it's guaranteed, whether it's what years, who knows? Like I said, it'll eventually will rear its head. Micah Parsons is going to be a Dallas Cowboy. Make no mistake. No mistake. I don't know who Shedder is. Shedder was good in college. Yeah, it's fine. So I don't know what that. I guess they're talking about Shedeur. But I don't know who Shedder is, but I'm sure Shedder was as good as Shedeur, or not as good as Shedeur, but Shedeur is pretty good. Anyhow, JB, as we close out though, so yeah, it'll get done. And I can tell you this: that Jerry It'll get done and they'll hug and everything will be fine. And there may be some hurt feelings, but guess what? It's negotiating when it's that big. And I can tell you this, I'm
still not right. Still not right.
My finger just get too big, and I typo it plenty of times. I was just giving you a hard time. I'm kidding.
Cam, you're still wrong though.
Yeah. With that in mind, JB, the Cowboys defense with Micah Parsons is better, much better. But even with him, they're still suspect. I think there's some weaknesses on that defense that are a problem. I do. And the offense is going to have to score a lot of points. But Micah definitely makes it better. Why? Because he's a disruptor, and we pay disruptors. It'll get done, but it may not get done by the time you line up in the first regular season game. JB, I want to leave this last to you, man. We've had a hell of a run every single day with the opinion, and it continues. But I know schedule and the rest of it, it's craziness going on. Why don't you let the people know what's going on with us going forward?
Yeah, definitely. Man, I love you to death. Can't thank you enough for being on here. I got so much shit going on. My mom's health, other shit that we don't need to say, but I'm going to be on here with Sean on Mondays right now going forward only. We'll be able to talk about the weekend in college football, the NFL weekend, and the Monday night games going forward. But then I'll be off the rest of the week doing my show and moving a lot of pieces around in my life. So I can't thank you enough, Sean, and everybody, Laura and Triple E and Craig and everybody else. Try Sarah and Flash and everybody that you guys have been a part of. So, but we'll be here Mondays. I'm still here every Monday, and we ain't going nowhere. You'll see us many times other than that, I'm sure. And I got a lot of other things in the fire right now. So we got a lot going on, but appreciate everybody. And hopefully we can blow this thing up. Sean's doing a great job as he is. Great guest and all that. So can't thank you enough, brother.
Oh, brother, and you'll get, obviously, our Mondays will be fire. And, folks, this is like he's going away. We got a lot going on. It's not like it could get back to 5 days a week in 3 months. Who the hell knows? But right now with fall and with the health is the most important.
Especially when I win the lotto.
We're going to empty the bucket on Mondays anyway, so that's a good thing.
Especially when I win the fucking $750 million Powerball tonight.
Oh, well, then we'll all only work a day. I mean, like, hey, am I entitled to any of it? No, Sean, you're not entitled to any of it. You're a fifth round. You weren't drafted, right?
Hey, you are, brother. Hey, Sean, it's funny. If you Google me, of course, you'll see people know I got a thing going on with Netflix, but fucking people I don't even know. What I get? JB, if you win, what do I get? It's fucking amazing.
Absolutely nothing.
Who the fuck? Who are you?
Right.
I don't know. If I win the lotto, Sean, you're not gonna ever see me again. But
I'll see you again. It just might not be on the podcast, right?
But I love you,
dude. If I did see you again on a podcast, if you won $750 million, I'd say you either love football too much or you're out of your mind and insane, man. So yeah, you'd be on that boat on a golf course doing it all.
I'll fucking throw that thing in the Pacific Ocean. This fucking thing right here.
There you go. I am 100% with you. So we'll knock it out. So starting next Monday, it'll be full time. We get great guests on here, but JB, and trust me, if there's something that goes down and I need JB to come on and comment on something that went down, big trade or anything like that, he'll be on here. He's a major go-to because of not only knowledge, but passion, and more importantly, the friendship. But health and family are more important, and we're here, and we will knock it out. So I appreciate it. And JB, before we go, one last thing. I was really, really happy for Tommy Fleetwood this week. I really was. Yeah. Class, dignity, never ran.
More top fives ever than not winning it.
Was it? Yeah. Never making an excuse and just grinding. And he won in fashion. And it was great to see Justin Rose and Shane Lowry and all the – now he's the enemy after today because we got the Ryder Cup coming up, and that's on. And I mean it kind of facetious, but it is. That the intensity of that. And I can't wait for that competition, which we'll talk about. Colt Knost will join me Thursday right here talking about the Ryder Cup and what Keegan Bradley's going to do with the captain's picks. He's obviously, you hear him, a CBS broadcaster, a golf broadcaster, and really good and funny. He'll join Thursday. Trey Wingo this week as well. We're picking the day and the time, so we'll keep you updated on that. But JB, you've been as a friend, obviously, always, but you kill it on this show, and I can't wait till our Mondays. We'll continue to do it, and we'll knock it out of the park, brother, as always. And I look forward to those Mondays because that breakdown is going to be epic and nuclear as always.
Yes, sir.
And I always look forward to it.
I got a roll-in board right here that we can use if you want on Mondays. I can draw it right here.
Right there. Oh, you do roll. You got to roll. So good. We'll put that. That'll definitely be a part of the X's and O's that go through to show and teach what we all learning's a good thing, and we never know enough. JB, great stuff for all you guys out there. Thank you very much. JB, hold on when we get off the air. I want to talk to you real quick. To all you guys, thank you, and we love the banter. We love the banter, and we appreciate it. Kim, thank you. Yeah, good 12 years there. Loved my time there, and it was I had great teammates working at ESPN. I was fortunate. So, but you'll get the same stuff here and then some, because we don't have to worry about what we say, have anybody tell us what we get to say. But I loved my run there, and they treated that 12 years was phenomenal. JB, I appreciate you. Triple E, always. Laura, thank you. And all of our viewers and all you guys who chime in. It makes the show even better. So we'll see you guys tomorrow on Unpaved. There'll be much more to talk about. And now we can settle out the preseason and start talking matchups and fantasy football. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow right here on Unpaved.